Bigbossjock radio show. Listeners are encouraged to rise up, confront the U.S. government, kick off the revolution, be part of the solution, liberate the Confederate States of America, the Alamo, placed as the Capitol. Episode 75 of the Analyst assessment. The 52 minutes at Calexico were assessed. This episode is supplemental. Metaphor for all those that aren't knowledgeable of limited liability companies nor limited liability corporations. Another example was given. Hal's Paint Store. Only paint supply, no other nearby. Everyone held actions. Shareholders in the store. Past years of mismanagement, when about was to sink the ship, leadership used another name. Paint Store. Had the supplies. Just drop on by. Paint Store with a great service. Special mixes available. Paint Store. Everything remained the same. One moment to the next, under new management, Bill Bob's Paint Store. Thugger is Bill. Both in the same family. Thugger is Bob. Bill Bob's. Weren't given permission. Consolidated assets. Clients, no longer shareholders. Patrons were welcome. Remain treated as clients. New regulations placed. Bill Bob's. Business conducted differently. Patrons needed to accept, appreciate the service. If we're an objection, fine long as never painted. Anything painted with paint other than from the local provider. Bill Bob's. Any failure to adhere, follow the new regulations. Anything painted without official paint, burnt to the ground, perhaps no longer found. Vehicles to structures. Covers all the paint needs. Bill Bob's. Anyone understand? U.S. Border Patrol, U.S. Customs and Borders, U.S. Immigration are the correct names. Bill Bob's. First sign of trouble. Spin the wheel. Bob Bills. Any further trouble? Bill Robs. Keep the spinner spinning. Rob Bills. Keeps on the trouble. Bill needed to go. Rob Bob's. All the assets are gone. No one held responsible. After the departure of Bill, no money in the account. Shareholders locked out. Bob was already gone. Skipped out before Bill. Everyone should have known. Didn't have the same name. Rob wasn't Bob. Entire operational loss. Everyone in the end robbed. Spin wheel keeps a spinning. How things went wrong. About to be a takeover. Reader turned revolutionary. Don't allow shares to be taken. Revolt. Rise up. No longer wait. We'll never give such instruction, Yankee Sam. Guns are about to confiscate. Allowed the purchase of firearms, and that's the leaders in the pyramid. With the computer generation, they could have took the guns away a long while ago. They're the arms sellers, traders. They also make comments about how it's so funny within the first few hours of the declared crisis situation, they expect to confiscate 90% of all the arms. Firearms held by the citizenry. Something to think about, listener. Going to wait for instruction in the form of you, or going to rise up, confront the U.S. government, not allow the takeover, liberate the Confederate States of America, the Alamo, placed as the Capitol. USDIA plans to cede Rockies to the West Coast. Due to reparations, falsified historical slavery. Yes, existed slavery, but not on the magnitude which is depicted in the history. Very few Africans can prove that they have 14% DNA that ties back to Yankee slavery. Back to, well, I won't call it Yankee slavery, they were Confederates. That ties back to the 1800s, pre-1860s. Very few. A group around 40,000. There were 8,000 approximately at the time of the Civil War. All the rest, they had their documents. They've been freed. The 8,000, they were awaiting to be repatriated to the continent of Africa. Had contracts signed. Passage in a ship. Repatriated upon arrival. Were destined to land at Liberia. USDIA, with their plan, falsified historical slavery, claim will the nation Africa America. Don will say, had to be done. Look right here. Points finger at face, no more money. Just had to be done. What else could we do? Rural community demanded the payment, everything will work out. Time to check out, and that's that payment to China. They hold a large part of the debt. Really though, there'll be a computer-generated assassination. Dawn, another will come along. Handed off the baton. Dude is gone. Cede over territory. Public in a stupor. It could go either way. They might have Don cede the territory and shortly thereafter is a computer-generated assassinated. Or right before he cedes the territory, he's computer-generated assassinated. No, I don't see that. I see him giving away the territory. His father, Francis, told me that he would be the one. That's his son, Don, is known as birth name Alan Hawkins. So I'd imagine he would announce it, and he's doing so. Just couldn't do it. Conditioning the public. It's not him, the U.S. President. It's USDIA. Though it should be mentioned, Alan Hawkins, who is a.k.a. Donald Trump, is a USDIA operator from his first day. Mask wearer since his infancy. U.S. President been termed you when should have been Mr. President, sir. Public doesn't mind, isn't out in the street. Guns in hand on the attack, headed right at Yankee Sam. Public is caught up. Day state over diversion. Presented at a low intellect level, associates to the abstract. Times, are they, included we, us, part of ours, one of you. On the issues, left confused. Constant irritation, full of frustration. The name, U.S. Department of Homeland Security. If the person takes a look at the logo, listener, look how structured is the logo. Instead of such as on a coin, the wording goes around. One part of the coin states U.S. Department of, then the eyes need to go back over to the other side of the coin and then read underneath. The concept of the name was to divide the nation. Otherwise it would have been simple. U.S. Homeland Security. And then the placing of U.S. Department of, and then the eyes needing to go back to the other side of the coin and begin again and read downwards, divides the two groups. One's U.S. Department of. Oh, that was forgotten about. What's the entity that's named again over again? Homeland Security. United States Department of remain will the same name. Homeland Security. Though forgotten will be the first part. United States Department of. Added on will be Limited Liability Corporation. Screen in each corner. Condition the public. Arrives the orders. Leader on the screen. Times will be the symbol. Within a short while, symbol everywhere. Big screens in public spaces. Analyze the passerby's faces. From the logo will be ordered. Arrested for thoughts. Evidence, stress indicators. Viewed upon faces. Reason to be hauled away. Indefinite detention with arrest. Conducted by the military. Homeland Security LLC, Limited Liability Corporation. Holder of asset, America. Women are of authority. Placed nearest the screen. Each end of the table. Extension of the screen. Women placed nearest. Will be in turn the leaders. Flanks each end of the single tier. Row of leadership at the table. In reference to the Calexico conference. Rows of easels. Left side of the screen, set are 2 easels. Right side of the screen, set are 3 easels. Upon both sets of easels, black with white intelligence photos. Condition the public, 2 different groups. News brief with authorities. Military operations explained. Row of chairs in the single tier. Located behind the seats, single row of banisters. 1 flag each. 7 flags. Left side of the row, 2 banisters, first in the file. Top of the banisters, placed as a symbol, outreached winged bird. Other banisters, atop each, is visible a sphere. More importance is placed to the ornate banisters. Left hand side of the screen, first flag in the file, color red, white with blue, style Betsy Ross. Country of USA, standard style flag. Next in the single tier, style U.S. presidential. Color black background, seal in the center. Standard style flag. Seal reminds of another. Placed to the business, Homeland Security, Limited Liability Corporation. Holder of asset, America. Chair placed before style Betsy Ross, country of USA, standard style flag, seated as a man. Disheveled, appears Venezuela Guaido. All for the show, President Kevin. National Border Patrol, Council, LLC, Limited Liability Corporation. Subsidiary hold, member in the partnership, Major Hold Asset Company, Homeland Security, Limited Liability Corporation, holder of asset, America. Located on the screen, seated the right-hand side, seated in the next chair, before the banister style U.S. presidential, color black, background, seal in the center, standard style flag, seated before the symbol, Chief Gloria Chavez. Border Patrol, Limited Liability Company. Subsidiary hold, member in the partnership, only known to the public is hold company National Border Patrol Council, Limited Liability Corporation. Psychological operation taken out of the group, public will approve. Reality on the paperwork, ownership stays the same. National Border Patrol Council, Limited Liability Corporation. Any sign of trouble will change to Limited Liability Company. Remains subsidiary hold, member in the partnership, Major Hold Asset Company, National Security Limited Liability Company. And easily, when they change to corporation, National Border Patrol Corporation instead of company. When it's the council, it's the corporation, or is it the company? Either way, does the spin wheel, and it's all the same. National Security Limited Liability Company, holder of asset Africa America, subsidiary hold, member in the partnership, Major Hold Asset Company, Homeland Security Limited Liability Corporation, holder of asset America. Understand how it's going to work, listeners? I shouldn't have put LLC. Well, then I was confused. Are they companies or are they corporations? Words have meaning. Abbreviations don't mean much. They're letters. And with time, mean nothing. The names weren't placed. Yankee repeats again and again the abbreviations. Associates to nonsense. Mariel, Part 2, U.S. Border Patrol, will be the militants, supposed front lines. Something to take note of. During the Calexico conference, the man at the bottom of the screen with the dark suit on who takes pictures, in front of that man, a couple rows, a Caucasian U.S. Border Patrol agent, each time goes to sit because they stand to applaud, puts hands behind back as if being restrained, apprehended, detained, to give the impression the U.S. Border Patrol, who is termed Border Patrol, of ethnic makeup, will put under detainment, apprehension, will apprehend the Caucasian agents. So something to look for when happens the commotion that's planned. The Border Patrol, placed as the front line militants for the autonomous region of California. But better yet, listener, don't let that occur. Rise up. Get out there. Confront the U.S. government. Do not tolerate the breakup of the U.S. territory. Liberate the Confederate States of America. The Alamo, placed as the Capitol. Analyst assessment. Clip being assessed. CBS News, April 5, 2019. Clip entitled, President Trump tours refurbished fencing at the southern border. Airtime 5 minutes 48 seconds. 18 through 20. Statement makes Don while speaks, located right behind, with hand on weapon, stands U.S. Border Patrol Chief Gloria. Scene coincides. Analyst assessment previously what was mentioned during the conference. Her actions. 1 minute and 39 seconds. People need to play the 4 seconds. 139, beginning at 138 through 143. And take note of President Don. First, take note of what's going on. Since when does Yankee law enforcement use vests? Not very often. Intelligence operators out on a clandestine operation or for some reason dressed that way, but it's not part of their usual gear. Who does use vests, and it's quite usual, are the Latin American countries. The detectives, the higher-ups, oftentimes have on vests. Shows their importance. It usually has a logo or a title printed of the division that they work for. It's usual that the cops use vests. Yankee law enforcement doesn't. So what's the message being sent? Border Patrol is with the Mexican Federal Police, present on the scene, wearing the vests, the contractors. Now take a look at Don, and there's a man who doesn't have much hair, has on a Guayabera shirt, reminder of the KGB, present on the scene. Rumors will be Russia had something to do with the breakup. Though in actuality, the operator is representing the USDIA. Take note of how at first the operator is on the Donald's right side or the left side looking at the screen of Donald. Donald's movement obstructs the operator. The operator stands right under the screen, is an extension of the logo Homeland Security. Appears again on the opposite side, on Donald's left shoulder. The operator looks at the Betsy Ross, looks over at Border Patrol, and then looks directly into the camera. Go ahead, listener. Decipher the message. Computer generated. USDIA, posing as KGB, handed the Betsy Ross to the Border Patrol. That's being instructed by vest wearers. Hispanic style, Latin American style attire for investigators. Usually the cops with more rank, more tenure. Such as on the scene, they're giving instruction to vest wearers. It's to give the impression that Border Patrol is the Mexican Federal Police. Mexico took over. Such as Donald said, while seated in Calexico, California. Here in Mexico, appears that way. Something to take note. Give some thought, listener. Time to rise up. Confront the U.S. government. Get out there. Liberate the Confederate States of America. The Alamo, placed as the capital. Our one only God, He helps me do this rhyme, line by line. I do give my thanks, along with gratitude, for our Father in heaven. This is the end of a 76-part analyst assessment, the Calexico Conference. USDIA sent the message. It's quite clear. And that would be a 75-part series. I do believe this is episode 75. There's about to be a takeover. Listener, plan on waiting, being complacent? We're going to rise up. Not allow the takeover. Liberate the territory. No longer tolerate the aggressive actions of Yankee Sam. The plan of breaking up the U.S. territory. Waking up one day and no longer being a U.S. citizen. Having a new form of government. New sounds as if it's something better, a different form. Something much more oppressive than before. Which is found current date. The takeover is about to happen. The public is conditioned to such a level. At current date, it would only take the announcement being made. The public's there. They've been stripped of their identity. As zombies, they'll be ushered into the underground. Allow their guns to be confiscated. No longer be a counterbalance in case tyranny ever took over. It has taken over and been in place for decades. It's time to rise up. Confront the U.S. government. Get out there. Kick off the revolution. Liberate the Confederate States of America. The Alamo, placed as the capital. I do give my thanks for our one only God who helps me line by line do this rhyme. He's inside each and every one of us. It's depending of each and every one make that connection. And watch how their talents flourish when they're able to connect closer with our one only God. It's the Bigbossjock signing off. Before I do, one last mention. Court, May 23rd, 8:30 in the morning, Redding, California. I'd appreciate some assistance. Bigbossjock. See you there. Shasta County Superior Court, May 23rd, 2019, 8:30 in the morning. Signing off.